Hey, what's up guys? So today we are going to be jumping into essentials for electric guitarists and worship music. And the first part in this series is going to be our focus on triads and inversions. So we're going to focus on major triads and minor triads. And I'm going to give you 6 shapes for both. And so a triad, in case you don't know, is the very basic chord that we can have in music. So a chord has to have 3 notes, and the prefix tri means 3. So a triad is just 3 notes, you add them together and you have a chord. It's that simple. So that's what we're starting with. And so we're going to focus on the top 4 strings. So D, G, B, and E. So we're not going to touch our lower strings. And so we're going to use the key of G for our examples today. So we're going to focus on 3 positions because we have 3 notes in a triad. Basically, what this means is you can play that triad 3 different ways with a different note in the root each time. So for a G chord, we have the notes G, B, and D. And again, this is just a very basic bottom line chord. It's not a G major 7 or a G dominant 7 or a G minor 7, whatever. It's just a G major chord. So we have G, B, and D. So those 3 notes can be reordered with a different note on the bottom, and that makes it a different inversion. So a G chord has 3 inversions. There's a G chord with G in the root. There's a G chord with B in the root, which is called first inversion. And then there's G chord with D in the root, which is second inversion. And that's it, with just those 3 notes. So I'm going to show those to you now. So because we're just using 3 notes, we're going to use groups of 3 strings at a time. So the first one we're going to focus on is our top 3 strings. So our G, B, and E. So the first shape, it looks like an F bar chord. So if you've played an F bar chord before, you know it's like that. But because we're just using 3 strings, we're gonna move that up to where G is on the 3rd fret, and we're actually gonna get rid of our octave here with our ring finger, because those are the same note. So we're just gonna play the top half of an F chord on G. So that's a G chord. So our notes are B, D, and G. So that's a G chord in first inversion. The next shape is right here. And so this is a familiar shape. It's a D shape. The notes here are D, G, and B. So that's a G chord in second inversion. And that leaves 1, and that's root position, and that's going to be all the way up here. So we have G, B, and D. So on the top 3 strings, those are our 3 inversions of a G chord. So, and here's what's cool. I use the top E string as my reference point for knowing where to play these shapes. So if I know that my 1 of the chord is here, then I know that I can play this shape because the 1 is on top, meaning my G. If I know that my 3 is here, my B, then I know that this shape goes with my 3 on top. If I know that my 5 is here, then I know to play this shape because my 5 is on top. And so I call those reference points. So if you can play each note in the major chord that you're looking to find, then you can play all the positions as well. So now we're going to move it to our D, G, and B strings. So we're not using our top E anymore. So here is first position. This is root position G chord on those 3 strings. So we've got G, B, and D. The next shape moves up to where B is in the bass, so first inversion of G. And that's B, D, G. Our next one goes all the way up to the 12th fret, and it's just a bar. And we've got D, G, B. So that is G in second inversion. So those are all 6 shapes for the top 4 strings that you'll ever need for just playing basic triads. So if you see a G chord, that gives you 6 options to play that G major chord. You've got here, 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 here. Cool, so let's move into our minor chords now. So our minor triad that we're going to use is an E minor chord. So it's a very familiar chord, and it's very closely related to a G major. So G major is G, B, D, and E minor is E, G, and B. So there's 1 note difference, right? So we're going to start with an open position. Okay, so again, we're going to use just the top 3 strings at first. So if we just play our top 3 strings open, you've got an E minor chord. So you've got G, B, and E, and that's our E minor chord in second inversion. So if we move it up to right here, then we've got B, E, and G. That's an E minor chord in second inversion. And then if we move it up again to right here, we've got E minor in root position. So our 1 is in the root here. And again, you want to use reference points. So if I know that my E, which is my 1, is here on top, then I know that I'm going to play this shape, which is open. If I moved it up here to the 12th fret, it would be just a bar. If I know that my G is here, and that's my 3, then I'm going to play this shape here. And again, if I go to my B here, I know that I'm going to play the E minor with this shape because that's my 5 on top. And so those are 3 shapes with the top 3 strings. So let's move it down. And so here's what an E minor looks like on our D, G, and B string. So here we've got E, G, and B. And so that's an E minor in root position. So it's just E, G, B straight up. The next one we have is right here. So we've got G, B, and E. And that's an E minor in first inversion, sorry. And the last one is here. And that's an E minor in second inversion. So I'm sorry. So we got root, you've got first, and second inversion. And it makes sense because it moves up. Root, first, and second. Because your bass note goes E, G, and B. And that's what's happening here. So our root note is E, then G, and then B. Same thing over here. You've got G, and you've got B, then you've got E. So it makes logical sense. If you start in first inversion here, the next shape is going to be second inversion, then it's going to be root. Because you only have 3 notes, it's a cycle, and they keep going. So if you go from root, you move up, it's going to be first. You move up, it's going to be second. You move up again, it's going to be root, and it starts over because we only have 3 notes. So those are both G and E minor, G major and E minor, and those are the inversions that we use. And we're going to get into basically expanding those or embellishing those. So playing a G2 chord or a G major 7, all that kind of stuff. But we want to start you guys right now with just the basic triad. So basically, the responsibility of the player, so it becomes your responsibility to learn the notes of a triad chord. So if there's an A major, you need to identify, okay, that my notes are A, C sharp, and E. Or if it's a B major, okay, it's B, D sharp, and F sharp. We have a video that basically breaks down the number system and the major scale, and it can help you do that. You've got to connect all these dots to make this make sense on your guitar, to be able to move it around. Because we don't want you just stuck on G and E minor. We want you to be able to play in B flat, E flat, whatever. But you have to know the notes and how it works. And the shapes stay the same. So you can always take, if you find your B flat is here, well, you know that all you got to do is move it up to here. Or move it up to here. And that's your B flat, right? So these are tools we want you guys to use and expound on. We just want to kind of lay the groundwork for you. So we hope this works for you. We hope it makes sense to you because it's what we go to when it comes to learning parts and playing chords and progressions and all that kind of stuff. It gives you a lot of freedom as a player to be able to move around your neck and not be stuck to just, 2 shapes. You got 6 now that you can use, and we didn't even get into our bottom 2 strings here. That's going to come later. But anyways, we appreciate you guys. We hope this works. If it does, leave a comment. Let us know that it helped you a lot. If not, tell us how we can make it better. As always, we appreciate